Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we will talk about how to defend against enemy. So make sure to watch the full video. We encounter enemies even though we are hardworking, honest, careful, and courteous. Living this way gives us the upper hand with our enemies before the battle has even begun. Which brings us to the first item on our how to defend against enemy list. So before we go ahead, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to my channel. 1. Figure out what kind of enemy you're dealing with. Not all enemies are created equal. Depending on who your enemy is and the nature of your relationship, you need to learn more about how they work before you can learn to defeat them. Nemesis are like the opposite version of you. You'll find nemesis at work, at school, and in other situations where you're paired with like-minded similar people. Everything tells you that you should be friends with your nemesis. You've got similar interests, goals, and hobbies, but you just don't get along. Your nemesis is the oil to your water. Frenemies are friends that you don't like. Well, don't ever be friends with your enemy, not even frenemies. But when you're hanging out, she doesn't ever stop bragging. Frenemies are irritating, toxic, and a real downer. Enemies are tough. From the classroom to the workplace, enemies are serious threats to your ability to get through the day. An enemy is someone who thinks you're taking their popularity, so they hate you and always win at everything. 2. Keep your enemy close. The old adage is true. If you keep your friends close, keep your enemy closer. If you want to vanquish your enemy, you've got to learn how they win at everything. That means talking with your enemy, watching your enemy, and learning everything you can about the way your enemy thinks. Many bullies, frenemies, and other kinds of enemies operate from a place of jealousy. Often, enemies will pick on things that they have anxiety about in their own life. If you're being picked on about one thing, it might be because your enemy has anxiety about the same thing, or they just want to be mean and embarrass you. Enemies also hate people they view as threats. In the workplace or at competitive schools, anytime competition is involved, enemies will seek to eliminate you from winning. That means you're in a bad position. 3. Observe your enemy. Analyzing the way your enemy antagonizes you will help you plan a way of getting back. Who does your enemy associate with? What are your enemy's interests? What does your enemy want? Learn what motivates your enemy and what your enemy is struggling with on a personal level. What is your enemy's home life like? Where does your enemy come from? Do some research and answer these questions. 4. Find your enemy's weakness. Every enemy has a weakness, no matter how strong they seem when they're putting you on their heels. Finding that weakness will be essential to planning your revenge and getting your enemy humiliated. Some common enemy weaknesses are hubris. Just like in the ancient Greek stories, excessive pride can lead to the downfall of many enemies. If you've got a braggy, boastful enemy, being put in a position of embarrassment will be devastating for this enemy. Good revenge might mean setting your enemy up for some public embarrassment or failure. Confidence. Many bullies are really just big babies who have no self-confidence or belief in their own abilities. Lots of bullies are really just looking for companionship and friends because they feel undervalued and unloved. These types of bullies might respond better to a kinder tactic. Competitiveness. Many enemies are hyper-competitive jerks who've allowed their love of winning to overcome other considerations like human decency and kindness. Learning to disengage and freeze these enemies out is the best way of handling them and disarming their ability to torment you. If you don't play, they can't win. 5. Avoid your enemy as much as possible. The best way to defeat any enemy is to get them out of your life completely. Avoid enemies as much as possible to disarm them and steal their ability to offend, torment, and irritate you. If you're struggling with a bully, use your observational skills to steer clear of their haunts and spend time in other places. Don't give them the opportunity to antagonize you. 6. Play it cool. When your enemy confronts you, the best tactic is to turn into the Iceman. Play it cool, real cool. Don't get upset or try to argue back when your enemy launches into their irritating, bullying behavior. Just look at them like you would an irritating swarm of ants or your cat's puke. A minor inconvenience. Emotional reactions are like water for the plants of enemies. Withhold it, and they'll die. Even if you do react, make it cool and calm, never angry. 7. Freeze out your enemy. The cold shoulder can be a powerful and effective tool in fighting enemies. Bullies, frenemies, and nemesis all want attention. They want an audience and will pick on people to help lift themselves up and stand out above the crowd. The best way to disarm this? Ignoring them entirely. 8. Move on. The best revenge? Living well. The best way to get a bully out of your life is to move past it and put them in the rear window. Ignore your bully, freeze out your enemy, and get on with your life. If your enemy sees that they were unable to make a significant effect on your life, all the power will be taken out of their immature attempts to get your goat. 9. Defending yourself. Don't look for a fight, but learn to defend yourself if necessary. You should never let your enemy provoke you into a physical altercation, but some enemies are set in their ways and force your hand. You'll be able to be much more confident in your ability to move through your day-to-day if you know you'll be able to handle any situation that arises. Don't move around in fear. Get prepared. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel before you go. Thank you for watching.